success is different for different people, right? It doesn't have to be double your business to be successful or to live the life that you want to live.
Welcome back to another episode of Brotherhood Beyond Business podcast. Today, me and Joe are going to kick off this podcast with going through our weekly accountability. In the Brotherhood, we focus on one of the skill sets that we try to develop is accountability between brothers. And so we pair you up with different people throughout the quarter to make sure that you can continue to work on your accountability. So me and Joe, every week we get together. Either you can do a text or call or however you do it. We do a 15-minute call once a week, kind of check in. So we're just going to do our accountability call here, and then we'll go into some other topics at the spur at the end of this for our podcast. All right, Joe. So for last week, your accountability, we had 3 things written down. Number 1 was write semi-private cards. How's you doing that?
It's done. Reached out to former clients, sent the cards out. I would assume they probably got them a day or two ago because I sent out cards for the Brotherhood Beyond Business at the same time. And he just got that card 2 days ago, or one of those people told me they got that card. So should be here. Hopefully be hearing from him soon.
Awesome. And so the goal that we set up that one for is Joe's just looking for different ways for growth tactics. And one of the ones was reaching out to former members to build up a former semi-private clients. So that way it gives them a chance to have that intimate touch through a personalized card.
Yeah. And our semi-private clients are a little bit older too. So I think it's we can get tons of leads through Facebook ads and things like that. But these cards, I think, really speaks to a way that most of them, that generation's used to communicating.
Yeah. I mean, I've always used handwritten cards. I've always been a big handwritten card person because I feel like it's an old school tactic that's lost. And so I've been doing those, I've been sending you guys Christmas cards for years kind of stuff, or birthday cards. So it's just something I've always done, handwritten cards, because it's just a way to touch people in a different way. We do it for the Brotherhood. Like that's kind of our number one lead generating tool is just sending off a handwritten card. It's a lost art. It's not the easiest. It's not the fastest because you got to find the details. You got to do the research on who you want to send it to. But for me, it's like a very tailored way to I know I want this person, and I know one way I can get it into their hands because I can send them an email, but anymore. You can't guarantee the email is going to be seen. And so it's I can pretty much almost guarantee that the card's going to be seen, and they're probably going to open it because I even open the mail that I know is junk mail. I know it's junk mail. I was I'm still going to double check and open this just in case it's not junk mail. And so I almost guarantee every single card you ever send to somebody is going to be actually physically touched and read by them.
Yeah, dude. And AI can't write it for you. So it almost has to be personalized. And it's, to me, when I get a written card from you or somebody else, like Mark will send them out every once in a while. And to me, it's pretty much as meaningful as having a one-on-one conversation. Even though we're not conversating back and forth, it's usually in a card, we're taking time to specifically say something that we wish well for somebody in the upcoming time to be, or we're telling them something good about them or something cool or great about our relationship. So I think the things that we tend to be able to say in cards, or that are traditionally said in cards, they're more meaningful than something we might write in an email too.
Yeah, I do find that when I'm writing, I find it to be a moment to be more heartfelt about what I'm saying. Even when we're sending out to Brotherhood where I don't know the guy at all, I just try to find that relatable thing that I found about them on social media, through the website, something that I've learned a detail about them that made me excited, and the reason I reached out to them. It just gives that little bit that you can put that in email, but with email, it's just there's so many of those. Do people actually take the time to read it fully, whatever you've written? The cards, they're getting that full, whatever you put in there is actually being fully read the way it was supposed to be.
That's it, man. That's it.
Cool. Number 2 was next month's social media post for BFP.
They are half done, not all the way done. That's what I was working on this morning before this call, just cranking through them. I need about a full day after just getting back from Deca Worlds, but we'll move that into a to-do for next week, but we're going to put a deadline on it of Friday of this week. Even though we're not going to meet again for accountability until next week, I need to get that done this week, which today will probably be the day that gets done.
And the last one was your coach ascension system progress. Main thing you need to get done was put text in level up for Danny to use.
That got started. I do have a meeting with Danny to discuss that tomorrow. Our meeting is at 9:00 tomorrow. So that will get done today, because that's where I got to share that with him and let him know that it's available. And really, that's a course that's going to be available for us too, and level up.
Cool. So you got progress on all of yours, which is great. And this is the big part of the accountability. The reason we do the accountability thing is, yes, everybody has checklists. Everybody can follow through, but there's just a difference. every week when you have to say yes or no and why you have to say yes or no. It just gives you either one, holds you accountable to getting it done, or at least keeps it top of mind. Like, hey, I got to keep working on this until this, whatever it is that you're working on, get done. I was talking to a guy the other day about the Brotherhood and discussing what it is. And he had said to me, he's like, I don't know if I really need to pay somebody to hold me accountable. Like, pay, the $300 a month the Brotherhood is. Like, I don't know if that accountability as a business owner, I shouldn't have to pay somebody for that. Meaning what he was trying to say was not that it's not worth paying for, but she's like, I shouldn't have to do that as a business owner. I should be accountable enough. And I was like, well, my feedback to that is most business owners are extremely accountable people, but just like anybody else, there's just things that you put off because they don't feel like as important, or it is, it's as important, as you just don't want to get it done because it's a harder project or it's uncomfortable. And I think that's the important part of the Brotherhood, is not really holding you accountable to like the small little tasks, like the stuff that you should be getting done, like the admin based stuff. It's the bigger picture stuff that's like, this is what really moves the needle. And this is where business owners, for the most part, punt, like, hey, I'm going to punt until next week. I'm going to just keep pushing that down the road. And at the end of the year, you're like, oh man, I didn't make as much progress in this thing. It's because throughout the whole year, you just didn't put focus on what the true priorities were. And that's where like the accountability inside the Brotherhood is. And what we're trying to do is like, hey, like, so you and me, our big focus for this quarter has been growth. Our tactics are, you and me are both trying to grow our businesses. And so our tactics have been growth focused. And not that you and me don't focus on growth throughout the year. It's just, we don't focus intently on growth. We focus on like building a coach ascension program, or building, for me, is like a new SOP. It's like, oh, these are great. They are needed for the business, but where our businesses both are, we're both in a pattern where we need more growth than anything else. And we just don't put as much attention on that. And that's where it's like, okay, let's set up the right goals so that at the end of this quarter, that the thing that we needed to truly move the needle on the most will get moved. And the interesting part is the things that don't need the needle moved on as much, we're going to naturally move those, because those are probably usually the more exciting tasks for us, or the things are like, oh man, I'd love to like get some more social media posts done. You're just going to get those done because you want to get those done. These other things are like, man, I got to get these done, but I just don't want to put the focus on them.
Yeah, man, that's where the accountability comes in. It's like to get the things done, the things that we don't want to do, that we tend to procrastinate on over and over again. Like for me is usually calling leads. I don't love to call leads, but I do enjoy conversations with people. And I when I'm on the phone with somebody, I enjoy it, but I love to slack on that. So depending on the position you're in, like we can either hire out, or we can utilize the resources and the accountability that we have to make sure that we stop BSing around. We just get it done, and we do it consistently and make it a habit. And I think that's the unique thing that we do, and that really any, I would say, valuable relationship should do in your life, is call you out when you're not getting done what needs to be done. We can always do it respectfully, but we can be salt and light at the same time.
I read an article from our newsletter from a guy that I follow, Justin Walsh. Well, I think is Welsh, not Walsh. Justin Walsh is the name. But he's a newsletter that I follow for entrepreneurs. And he's in a mastermind group. And he had said he was in a meeting with his 12 mastermind members, and two of the people were having conversations about their $1 million businesses. And they're solo entrepreneurs as $1 million businesses. So they were crushing it, but they felt like they were behind because they needed to now like double their business, because everybody else in the group was doubling their business. So they have to add more employees. So they're going through this idea that like the conversation they were having is they got to grow. And it was keeping up with the Joneses. Even though they're more profitable than all the other businesses in their group, they thought they needed to double, even though they're probably going to reduce their profit. But that was just like keeping up with the Joneses. And the thing that you said a second ago that hit me was Justin had said in his newsletter, he's like, I wanted to say to them, why? Like, why do you need to grow? Isn't profit the most important thing? Like, maybe you should stay where we're at. But he said, I didn't say anything because inside this group, that's the wrong conversation. It felt like I'd be holding them back. And I instantly, when I read that, I was like, Justin, you failed there. Like, your responsibility right there was to step up and say the one thing nobody else would say. And that's really what we talk about in the Brotherhood, is like, I need to be the person, or we need to be the person that's willing to say the thing nobody else is willing to say out loud, regardless if it's the right answer or not. But like, we need to at least approach this other question. Like, maybe you don't need to double your business. Maybe you need to stay where you're at. You're happy. You're saying you don't really have any stresses. Why add on the stress of employees? Why add on the stress of doubling your business when your business is good? So it's just one of those moments where when we talk about in the Brotherhood, like the radical candor, like how do I really be like honest with somebody? And like, even if how I want to build my business is different than how you want to build your business, I at least want to have a conversation. Like, there are different ways to build your business that build happiness. And it's one of those moments when I read this from an entrepreneur I really respect, where he just didn't say what he should have said. And I was like, dude, like, that's what the masterminds are about. That truly, it's not more about more ideas. At least our mastermind is not about more ideas. It's like not about just more ideas. It's about calling business owners out, not really call them out exactly, but like in this moment, it's not calling them out. It's just giving them, hey, maybe look at it from a different perspective and being honest in that moment. That's the most important conversation I can have with you. Because my job is not to tell you how to run your business. My job is to give you enough input from different expertise to say, hey, take another month before you do any action and think through this other idea. Is this worth your time?
Yeah, don't just jump on something that sounds good right away, right? Like I think that's the biggest benefit of having a collaborative of people who've been doing this a while to advise you on the mistakes that they've made. And I would agree that guy definitely dropped the ball in that situation. I don't even know who that is, but I cannot count the amount, not at least not on two hands, the amount of epiphanies or moments of clarity that I've had in the middle of our meetings because you said something that made me think at like 2 degrees differently than where I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like when all we do is think about this stuff inside our own head and we talk about how lonely it gets to own a business and it's lonely at the top, we tend to get tunnel vision in ways that can hold us back, or tunnel thinking. I don't know if there's a term for that. Having that brotherhood has helped me in so many situations, even just this last meeting that we had. When I brought my topic up for our live meeting to talk about what was going to be worked on for the remainder of the quarter and what was going to move the needle the most in the way that it needed to move in order for my life and my family's life to be better, we went a completely different direction. And it wasn't a distraction. It wasn't the way that it wasn't supposed to go. It was the right way for it to go. There's such big benefit in that. And also a good point coming from that conversation is success is different for different people, right? It doesn't have to be double your business to be successful or to live the life that you want to live. And it changes, man. I think you and I have both learned this. What we once wanted is now like, it doesn't even exist anymore because we want something completely different based on where we're at in life and the things that are happening to us in our life. And it's not like I'm letting things that happen to me dictate my actions, but things just changed. Like for me, it was always tons of locations, and that was gonna define my success. That was gonna give me purpose. That was gonna make me feel good. Now it's, man, I just want my kid who's turning 18 soon to be successful. And I want to make sure that what I do helps create a successful path for him, and that I guide him, and that I have the time to spend guiding him. Like on a Monday night last night, we went to the movies and it was awesome. We got to have that's where we have our deep conversations, driving to the movies. We go out to eat before we go to the movies. That's where there's lots of mentoring being done with my son. And that's the most important thing in my life to me right now, besides my wife, is my kids. So I would have loved to have been in that room to have that conversation. I feel like we've had so many conversations like that in our group where people are talking about, well, we got to do this, or I need to add this service to my business. And we're like, couldn't you just do more of what you're already doing? Or could you tap into like the parents of those kids instead of trying to add a whole other service or something, depending on the business that it is. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting newsletter. It's cool that he shared that perspective though.
Yeah, it is. Like, I mean, the perspective he showed did in the article is really good. He talked about another business owner that he had worked with, and he was doing like $3 million as a solopreneur, just crushing it. And he had all the business coaches this guy talked to had kept on telling him, like, you need to grow more. You're doing this well. Like, you can add another associate to your team and you guys can double your business, all this kind of stuff. And this business owner kept on saying, he was like, he just kept switching from business coach to business coach because they weren't telling him what he wanted to hear, which was like, your business is crushing it. Like, leave it. Cause he's like, the guy had said, he's like, he was taking home like $700,000 a year personally. He had some part-time people that he outsourced things to, and they were super happy with what he was outsourcing. He didn't want to overload their plates either. And then he was working 30 hours a week and spending a ton of time with his wife and kids. And they were taking roughly 6 weeks of full vacation throughout the year. And that was what the other business owner, this is not in that mastermind meeting, this is just somebody that he was coaching. He'd said the other business owner, he's like, that was a different level of fulfillment for him. Like, everything, he was making plenty of money, ridiculous money, really. $700,000 a year is, in my mind, ridiculous money. I don't really care about the people that talk about being millionaires and stuff. I don't understand personally. I don't understand what I would do with over maybe $300,000 a year. I don't know what I'd do with money after that. Like, what would I do with that money? And so realistically, it's like there's a certain number where I don't even know what to do with the money after that point. But the 30 hours a week, that's like a dream scenario. I've definitely, since I took over, built Level Up and stepped out of GCP, I work way less hours overall, which has been awesome. It's still definitely not down to 30 hours a week. The idea is like how much more time he gets back every single week. And then 6 weeks of like vacation where you don't have to think about your business. Like, I don't have that. I know I went on a 2-week vacation to Alaska this year, and like I was able to shut down for the most part, but it was also like it was still itching in the back of my head. And I'm not saying this guy's not itching in the back of the head, because I think entrepreneurs are always itching in the back of our head. We always worried like what's breaking right now, what's falling apart right now, why I am not like steering the ship. But it is one of those perspectives where, man, so I'm 39 right now. When I was 29 years old, 10 years ago, I could never imagine I would want a business that I have right now. Meaning, when I was 29 years old, I was building location number 2 for GCP already. You know, we'd only been open 2 years, and I was like, oh, I'm building location number 2 already. And so at 29 years old, I was like, man, I'm heading for 5 locations. I'm blowing up this franchise model, like blah, 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 blah. And now I'm sitting with like all these employees. I'm going to create all these jobs for people. And this is like my mindset. Perspective wise, is I came from a manufacturing corporation. My dad built a huge manufacturing corporation. I had just seen scale, you know, and I'd only understood scale. Like, this is what my dad has built. And because my dad has built this huge scaling business, it's like, this is where for me to be successful, this is the only way to go. And then somewhere in my 30s, really what happened was I met my wife, and then I realized there's life outside of business. And it's like, this is actually way more enjoyable. I enjoy this part of life as much as I enjoy business. And then decided to move to Arizona, and like my lifestyle had to change because of that. And I was like, I'm not going to work all the time, build another gym and not enjoy like this environment we live in, because we live out in the mountains. So like that perspective now at 39 years old, I'm finally building that dream business. I'm building the business that we were just talking about, where the guy's like, I want to see how big I can build this business without adding any employees to it. As soon as I need to add employees, this business has grown big enough, because I just want I want the lifestyle that sits outside of that. But I want to have fun with building the business, but not have the stresses of like, we work with the gyms, right? It's like, how do I get more? I need more coaches, or this coach needs more money. I was like, I just like, if all of a sudden I decide, hey, I don't want to grow this business anymore, and I have to decrease my personal salary by, $30,000 a year, I want to have that ability to be like, I can just choose to reduce my overall salary, and we'll be fine if I really need to make that decision. But when you have employees, you can't make that decision.
Yeah, man. Everything changes when you meet that wife, for sure.
It really does. I mean, it's game changing for that. So if you're somebody that's listening to this and you're in like your 20s, early 30s, you're not married yet, the perspective is that your life will change in the best of ways. It will change, but like, the idea is like, I only want to do business right now. There's a lot of entrepreneurs or gurus out there right now that like are married, but they don't have kids and stuff. They don't have other responsibilities, and they're just like, me and my wife just love to like do business, right? And I agree to that in a very small portion. Like, I can see that if you have a wife that's an entrepreneur mindset, but I also think for the most part, you guys are just like partners, not maybe husband and wife as much as you think you are, because there's so much more to life than like that business component of it.
Yeah, man. Like, I've got a guy I'm going to meet with on Wednesday. He's a chiropractor, and we're going to be talking about the Brotherhood. And he and his wife own a business together, but he's the one that's always reached out and made the connections with me. So maybe that's just a part of the business that he enjoys more. But they have a great life. Like, they're doing great business. And they've even had business coaches, but he's still interested in accountability and being a part of a group of guys to help hold him accountable, to provide that brotherhood, because it's just something that's been so valuable in my life. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that one. Excited to meet with him on Wednesday. I met with another gentleman yesterday he has an interesting path, completely different path from us. And he's interested in being a part of the Brotherhood. And he alluded to, after I wrote him the card, he alluded to the relating to the feeling of being lonely at the top. Or just, whether you're at the top, I don't know why I have trouble saying that. Like, just being lonely, like owning a business. And he alluded to days where he had 2 other business like professionals that were doing their own thing that he would meet with. And sometimes they would meet and they were from different parts of at least the state. I think one of them was from up north. The other one was like in Charlotte. And then he was here on the coast of North Carolina, and they would meet, and they called it like something like drink of the week club or something like that. Cause they were just, casually meeting and just talking about what they had going on in life business wise and what they're going to be working on next. And I think there's huge benefit to that. But then the conversation moved into, but then life got in the way, and we haven't met together in a long time. And he's like, so I miss having that. He's like, one thing we didn't have, he said, we had discussions, but we didn't have accountability, like actual structured accountability to make sure things got done. Like, we weren't checking in on each other's tasks and things that had to be done. And not everybody needs that, but he realizes that's something that he was probably missing. So it was a really interesting conversation to have with him about that. because the businesses and the things that we're talking about with him, he's not a gym owner. He's a military vet who is a 50% owner. I guess with his wife, they'd be a 50% owner together of a franchise, a restaurant that's local here. It's very, very similar to like a Chipotle, but it started here in our small town. And now they've franchised that restaurant to like 18 locations, franchise locations. And they've been open for probably 2 or 3 years, and they're already at the point where like he doesn't ever go. He very, very rarely goes in to the restaurant. And they're at a point, I asked him yesterday, I said, so would you have any intentions on just selling that to the other owner? He said, oh no, it's a cash flow thing now. He said, it's just giving them money. They just built a new house, everything, they're doing well. But he gets that you talked about when you go on vacation and stuff being in the back of your mind about your business. I don't think that's specific to our businesses. I think that's the part of having, however our brains work as entrepreneurs or wanting to create things, you're always thinking about something. And that's where this guy's at, because he has a piece of land in a good spot that has paid off. And he nonstop, for the most part, nonstop is just thinking about how he's going to develop this land to continue with some sort of business practice there. So he's talking to me about like the potential of opening a business, putting up, he had at one point he showed me all the plans they had for this big tap room they were going to put in there. And then things changed a little bit. Then now he's talking about somebody wants to open a sports complex on it, the potential of that. They're looking at getting investors, and they might even also have like a strip mall on the other side of the property. And we were talking about opportunities there. So, I mean, I think 6 weeks of vacation, 8 weeks of vacation, I think if you have that mindset, it's not even a mindset. It's just a way that we're wired. It's just a different way of being wired, that you're always going to be thinking about something. Like I can't go to Disney World without thinking about how I love specific aspects of the customer service side of what they do, or how they could have made things slightly better from a business standpoint. It doesn't matter how much vacation I have. I'm always thinking about something, and it'll always come back to, oh, we could implement this in my business, but wait, is it worth it? Is that priority right now? Stuff like that.
Well, one thing I personally enjoy about being in the Brotherhood is I enjoy all the different businesses. So meaning like when I'm thinking about business now, it's not just about how can I build another business. It's like, how can I help somebody else in their business? So you come with this idea. So like when you're saying that, my first instinct is like, this guy has land in Hampstead. And I'm thinking about like, okay, I know the owner of Founding Fathers here, Founding Fathers Collective, which is like a barber shop, tap room, speakeasy, coffee shop that wants to expand to 50 different states. So my brain goes like, hey man, like maybe there's a point to connect these Grant together with your guy and see if like, hey, maybe they'd build they're putting them in 50 states anyway. Like Hampstead would be a great place for it, North Carolina. So like the idea is like, but the cool part is like you said, is I'm always thinking business, but I don't always have to think about business just growing myself. Cause now I'm in certain ways, we talked about this with our businesses. We're like board of directors of other people's businesses. And so you have this investment in them too. It's like, okay, it's not like I spend a lot of time in a week thinking about your business, but if something hits me that like this would work great for Joe, instantly I'm sending you a text. You know what I mean? Like that's like, how many people do that for somebody else's business where they're invested in somebody else's business that way? Even your family members, for the most part, probably never think about your business. And so it's like, the idea is like, it's just such a different level when you get that brotherhood that you create through other people. You start to like be invested in what they have going on as well, which is really unique because as entrepreneurs, you have so much going on that you wouldn't imagine thinking about somebody else's business. But as soon as you have investment in somebody else's business, like, man, like I would love to just help this person succeed.
Yeah. I would love to have a bourbon coffee place you're talking about here. I would love to have a place like that here.
That's pretty dope.
That has all those things. We have probably those things individually here, but and those are all things that he's into. So I will actually text him after we get off this call and be like, hey, I got a business idea.
There you go.
That's the kind of guy he is. I love those conversations, man. All right, let's get back to accountability.
Yeah, so let's go into my accountability because we got yours all taken care of. And we'll set up our accountability after this for the next week. But for my accountability for the week was I officially launched my book. And so it was going to go through what tasks I need to get done for like after the book launch. So for those of you guys who don't know, I launched the book called The Brotherhood Beyond Business, The Journey to Become the CEO of Your Own Life. Joe and me are going to do a podcast about that in the next month or so. After the book's officially, we get the book in. But what the process was for me this week is, okay, the book's launched, is on Amazon. Now, how do I go about and get this out to the world? I mean, you can obviously just send an Amazon link, but as an entrepreneur, I want to be a little bit better at that. So I was to build a page for both sites, both my personal site and Brotherhood site. Got both those pages built, got the schema, got all the SEO stuff done for all that.
Okay.
Created social media posts. The first one went out last night, and those will be coming every day for the next 2 weeks.
Do you have those pre-scheduled?
Yeah, pre-scheduled, except for the stories ones. The stories will come. I'm only doing stories once a week or twice a week, and those will come. I'll have to manually send those because to add that little Amazon link at the bottom for people to click, they can't
Yeah.
schedule that out, so I have to do that manually. So those,
Yep.
those I have, but I have that scheduled in my phone to remind me, okay, the post on Wednesday morning, and then create an Amazon authors page, which is good for SEO, and so I created that, and then add it to my email signature as well. So I put it in all the different places I could think of for book sales. Set up pretty much all I want to do is I want all the tasks I needed done for the book sales for me to say this task is done and move on. That was my goal for this week. Got that all done, so I don't have to worry about the book. Yeah, right now I'm not worried about the book at all. Like it's on the back burner of things because my goal with the book isn't to sell a lot of the book. If you guys don't know much about Amazon books, is if you publish on Amazon, you make very little money on it. So say I sell it for $19.99, I'm going to make at most $4, but realistically, it's going to be around the $3 range. And so you don't make a lot of profit on it. So it's not one of those things where I'm looking to be super profitable, but we're using it as okay, this is a chance for somebody to read our story, the story of the Brotherhood. What the story of the Brotherhood really is, the Brotherhood book is the story of me, Joe, Danny, Mark, people that have been in the mastermind group that I've been in for the last 8 years. It's our story over time on how we've improved ourselves, the habits that we've created that I've seen through either myself or through everybody else's journeys. And we tell it through a parable form. So Sam Sutton's form. Sam Sutton is the name of the character. Think of if you ever read the book Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's a story form. So we go through and tell a story, and this is pretty much the habits on how Sam Sutton becomes the best business owner he can be, but also the best man he could be. It's really the journey of becoming the best CEO and other aspects of life as well.
I'm excited to dive into it, dude. I'm definitely gonna read it. I mean, I remember seeing parts of it, but I'm excited to read it and share about it, talk about it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I
excited
think it
to have
definitely adds credibility to the Brotherhood.
the story out there. I don't. In general, it's people ask me why I wanted to write a book, and it's why wouldn't I want to write a book? It's kind of more along the ways. I was I wanted to be so realistically. If Jim watches this, I want to give him props. Jim Herrick, a friend of a guy in our mastermind group, he is currently writing a book in the fitness industry. And he was telling me he's writing a book, and all of a sudden I'd always kind of wanted to write a book, but I never really had any push. But because Jim was writing it, I could use him as an accountability. And so I reached out to Jim. I was like, hey, Jim, I'm interested in writing a book too. Can we kind of create an accountability for this? And so that's how I got my book done over the last years, because me and Jim just kept sending messages back and forth about check-ins every single month about how much progress we made on writing our book. And so by having that in certain ways, because Jim is in my mastermind group, it almost in ways gave me permission. This might sound bad, but it's not meant to sound bad. If Jim can write a book, I can write a book. Not meaning it's not that Jim's not smart or anything. It's just he's Jim's busy. He's got a lot going on. If he can take time to write a book, why can't I take time to write a book? Why can't I find a way to do this? So it also gave me permission a little bit to be I can write a book too. If Jim can write a book, and I've always wanted to. And I had a story I wanted to tell. I just didn't really just didn't have the courage in many ways to do it. And so that accountability over the last year has been awesome between me and Jim. Jim's book's getting close. I think he's still got about 6 months left, he says, to get his finished, because he's going through a rewriting process right now. But it's one of those things where it's that accountability over the last year has been awesome to have that accountability buddy on it.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about you. So you checked all the boxes of everything you wanted to get done, and that was all related to the book. So, and the book is related to growth. So what are the next steps that you need to spend time? What are the things what do you need to focus on over the next week for growth? And specifically, is there anything that you're procrastinating on in relation to that?
So for the book, no, the book is completely done. There's nothing I need to touch on the book side of it, because promotion wise, I'm probably going to send out maybe a social media post a month on it going forward, just to say we have a book. But outside of that, it's not really meant to be a huge, it's really a marketing tool for us when we send out handwritten cards. If we have somebody want to kind of overwhelm, hey, we have a book about this, we can send the book. That's really what it's meant to be, as a marketing tool for that. So I really don't have a task with the book. The big obstacle, so one thing I added to our accountability that I sent you a text later was write 4 handwritten cards, because I'm supposed to be sending out 2 cards a week, and I moved it to 4 cards a week. I did not send out my cards at all last week. And so we had talked about this before. So here's an accountability reason why I think I'm extremely disciplined in business tasks, right? One thing is I have it set up, I'm going to do them. But this is why I think entrepreneurs do need somebody to hold them accountable, because there are things that you're going to slack on. writing handwritten business cards is super simple. It's not hard to do at all. It's not hard to research the people. Like I'm doing them locally, people in Prescott area, not hard to do. But for some reason, because I have all these other like systems and stuff I'm building at times, those seem like they're a higher priority because like they need, if they don't get done, there's a project path they're on, right? But handwritten cards don't have a project path. So it's just like, this is a task I got to recurringly do every week. But it's very, very valuable to our business. Is how the Brotherhood has like become known, is starting to get known, is because we're sending out these cards. So my thing is I just didn't do it. And mainly because I kept on like every single time I had it as a task on Thursday. And I just kept moving other things and moved it to, okay, I'll get it done Thursday afternoon. Didn't do it. Moved it to Friday morning. Didn't do it. Moved it Friday afternoon. Didn't do it. And it's like, man, then I had a weekend. We went to the Vegas Raiders game. So I didn't do it over the weekend either. And so on yesterday, came back late, didn't get it done yesterday. Then this morning, it's like, okay, I still haven't even got my four cards written. So I wanted to get it done before this meeting and didn't get it done before this meeting. But it's one of those things where it's like, accountability wise, there was absolutely no reason for it not to get done. I just chose not to do it.
Yeah, dude. So I see where you added that to it. That wasn't on that original note. So that can be something I can definitely hold you accountable for. And I'll check in with you. Like, let's see, we meet every Tuesday. So on Friday to see if you get it done, I'm just going to pre-schedule a text to go out to you.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, that's something I do all the time, is pre-scheduling text out like crazy, just to like, okay, I want this to come to them at a certain moment, but I'm not going to remember to send it in that moment. So I'm just going to pre-schedule it out.
Yeah. And I don't want people to think like, if whoever listens to this, whoever watches this, whatever you're doing, like when I'm sitting here, like I'll send you a text in the middle of the week. It's, I've known Trevor for years. So part of that's because I care about Trevor and we have a relationship beyond just the professional side of things. But it's also a lot of people, I think, some people, when they hear the detail or the level to which we might hold each other accountable in business and in life, they might say, that's not for me. That's too much. I don't have time to do that. I'm not going to follow up with somebody once a week. I'm not going to send them reminders. It's not like I'm trying to, I don't know, foster a loving relationship with my wife. Like, it's not that. I'm just going to pre-schedule a text to go to Trevor. Yeah. And then he knows I pre-scheduled it. So that means I sent a text. Like, it takes 5 seconds. It's not a huge detail, or like, you don't have to be detail oriented. You don't have to be hyper focused on certain things. It's just a simple thing. Like, I'm just going to pre-schedule a text probably before we get off this call to go to him on Friday. And those little things matter because they just bring it back to top of mind. Like the things that you need to get done, and especially when it's something that we procrastinate on. And that can contribute to the fall off that we tend to see in most people, especially if you're like me, where we have these accountability calls or we have our quarterly goal setting meetings, whatever it might be. Even with the one-on-one mentor that I use outside of the Brotherhood, there's always massive action taken after those. Like very, very, like for a good, few days or so. And then it tapers off. We get distracted. We start to procrastinate, or we get 90% of a project done and it starts to feel like it's done, and we might move on to something else to try to start working on that before this one's, 100% done, tested, and been run for 3 months and then delegated. So having these extra check-ins can keep you in that massive action or just that higher performing mode, more focused mode. It helps with focus. And those little things matter a lot. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of people's lives when it comes to business.
Yeah. And if I would say an overall time commitment I have to like accountability for like the accountability partner I have, because you only have, in our Brotherhood, you only have one other person you're accountable for. There's a group of 10, you have your repairman in groups of 2. So it's not like you're keeping everybody in your group, all 10 members, accountable. You only focused on that one person. For us, it's like 15-minute call. Like that's, and realistically, people piss more time away on social media than 15 minutes. So it's not that hard to do a 15-minute call. That's so much more valuable to your life. And then it's like maybe 10 total minutes the rest of the week when I send you a text that you might respond to, and we'll just text back and forth a little bit about that one thing. But it's like maybe 25, 30 minutes max all week. And that's on Mac's side of it. And so it's like, it's really not that much of a commitment, but it's like, it truly moves the needle. And it's like all we're trying to do as entrepreneurs is find ways to move the needle. That's all we're trying to do. Like, what can be ways that can move the needle every single week? So if I can move the needle every single week for 52 weeks a year, like, imagine where your business is going to be. And that's all it is. Like, it's so simple, but nobody does it. So.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes you just got to pay for it. That's what we do, right? People pay us to coach them in fitness because they won't go do it in their own. And, we pay people to guide us. Like I pay somebody to write my fitness programming, and I have a master's degree in kinesiology because I know I'm going to do it.
Agreed. Yeah. I pay for nutrition coaching. Like there's different, like if you just think about learning, right? Things I want to learn. Like I'm paying for knowledge to get from other people. Accountability is just put a way of taking that knowledge and putting it into action. But it is one of those things. Is some of the stuff is so simple. And it's just, but it's just the even like in our group, I still have to reach out to other people that I'm to be like, hey, are you guys holding each other accountable? Because even from there, you still fall out of it a little bit. And so it's just like, oh, just a little bit of reminder here and there. Good to go.
What else is it? What's the next steps for, I know we were working on, or you were working on the done for you direct mail campaigns. That's something you were talking about doing. You were not going to do it during Black Friday, but you got everything done for it. What's the next steps? Did you reach out to everybody about that? Did you
Yep.
send that to your
So
leads and everybody you knew?
done for you direct mailer SOP was sent out to all the people, personal contacts, the level up clients, and then also sent out to our entire gym list because that one's focused strictly on gyms. And so that sent out that whole list. So that one's done. What I'm focusing on right now, so for this week, my three main things are 4 cards. Those have to be done today. Like those will be written. Like I'm going to have breakfast after this podcast, and then from there, this first thing I'm going to do is four handwritten cards. I have moved that now to the first priority every single week because it's so important to our business, and I've pushed it off for enough time. It's the first priority every single week. It's not that long. It takes me maybe an hour to do 4 cards, but it's just one of those things. It's first priority of the week. Get it done so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Number 2 thing that I need to do is Jim Calbeso. I always say his name wrong. Kilbasso.
Kilbasso.
Kilbasso. Yep. It's like, man, which one did I say it right or wrong? So Basso. I am rebuilding his impact website. And so I have to get his homepage. My commitment for this week is his homepage rebuilt this week. That's task number 2. And then task number 3 is I'm creating an SEO system for fitness businesses. So how do you help and search engine optimization for fitness businesses for their website? We do that for plumbers and trades right now. And so now I'm bringing it back. I've found a way to reduce the price so that gyms can make it's more affordable for gyms. And so I'm redesigning that so that way, okay, here's the main things they need to do. Just pull some things out of that. We do like a massive amount of things for plumbers and stuff. I'm just reducing it. What's the minimal effect I can get done for gyms and give it a price point at that one. So I'm working on the funnel for that, getting that funnel started. I won't have that done this week so that I can sell that. Hopefully in the next few weeks, have that out as a recurring membership that we have is SEO marketing for gyms.
So SEO for fitness, what would mean that you successfully got that started? What's like 1 or 2 tasks that you need to get done to start the funnel for that?
I would say the actual funnels just started. So like copying another funnel we have and having all like the settings done for it. I guess the settings for the funnel would be really just saying if I got that far, I'd be really happy. A lot of times for me, it just takes me getting the first step of a project started, and then my mind goes into project mode. And then it's like, I can't stop thinking about it until this project's complete, which is a great thing. The negative is recurring tasks struggle. I struggle with recurring. I really do really well with project-based tasks. So.
I'm the same way. It's so easy. It's something that's really important that needs to get done, and it's very easy to get distracted by it or not to compartmentalize it. It can be, you can set all the time blocks you want on your calendar, but if you're like deep into something and almost feel like you're in a flow state, it is very hard to stop working.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. Especially now that I have way more time in a row than I used to have. And it's like, then you really get in those flow states, like 4 hours in a row, and you're just like locked in. It's really hard. I might have something set up after lunch. I'll start in the morning on a project. I'll have something set up after lunch, and I'll wipe that project out and just keep this project going. Cause it's like, man, the flow state's so good and so exciting right now. Whatever that thing is after lunch, I don't want to work on it. That's why for me, it's like, I got to figure out priority wise, what are the biggest needle movers for growth right now, and put those at the beginning of the week and put those project-based tasks later in the week, because then I can get those tasks done, and then I can hit flow state maybe on Wednesday and just work Wednesday through Friday on flow state projects.
So it looks like the 4 handwritten cards are right now. That's your driver for growth with Brotherhood. Yep. And then we're going to go get the SEO, start working on the SEO funnel for fitness. That's level up. What's the update on GCP?
GCP is just continue to monitor Facebook ads. We've been doing really well with Facebook ad growth. And then I just sent out direct mailers. I got when our direct mailers campaign gets sent, I get a card sent to me, what it looks like. And I just got my card in the mail yesterday. And so that means they'll start beginning delivered to homes this week. So that's that direct mailer was to former members. That is just a direct mailer that saying we miss you, right? So instead of a handwritten card, we did it to form, because we have such a a huge list of former members. Is like, well, I'm not going to write in 80 some cards or whatever. And so we did a direct mailer campaign to them. So that will be going, and that's the offers is $28, 28 days. So we have that one going on, and then our Facebook ads.
But so what's going on? What's working with the Facebook ad? What's gotten better about that?
Well, two things.
Mine are doing poorly right now.
I don't know if things are going better, but like there's two things that are beneficial. One is we were paying for a Facebook ads company before to run them, and we were paying them $900 a month to run our ads. And so we eliminated them, and now our VAs are running them for us. And so that's a $900 savings. And so that's huge at the end of the month. And so is like not to have the extra $900 of somebody running your ads for you.
Yeah.
When we compare ads month to month, we got the same amount. We actually got more leads. Our cost per lead was lower. Our cost per lead was $11.58. So our cost per lead was lower. We didn't end up with more leads, but we also didn't run as big a budget. So with them, we were running a $900 budget a month, so $30 a day. This month, we were only running a $600 budget, which is about roughly $20 a day. Just because we were trying to like capture. We had a horrible month with our Facebook ads company for 2 months in a row, and that really crushed us on profit margins. So we need to reduce everything to kind of regain that. And now this month at $600, we got 39 leads at $11.58 a lead. Really well there. And according to Nate, we were getting at least one to be a legit lead a week. I think he had a 1 week where he had three that were legit leads. When I say legit leads, I mean people that we actually got scheduled for our appointment. Not the other ones aren't legit leads. It's just like those are scheduled appointments is what we kind of focus on. So we're getting a lot more in the scheduled appointment thing. I don't know anything that's different about how they're running it versus how the other guys were, because I'm kind of hands off of Facebook ads. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really touch a lot with them because I never really wanted to dive into them because I don't enjoy Facebook. But it's one of those things where it's like they are getting as good a results for less money. So
yeah, that matters a lot. That's great.
Yeah. But that's
a solid cost per lead. That's a good number of leads too.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that, along with the direct mailers. Remember, the way we're using the direct mailers is as a brand awareness tool. And so the idea is like, hopefully when somebody sees our direct mailers, and we spend roughly $300 a month. Some months, like it depends on when you buy a list, it depends on how many people fit in that list. Might be 250. We put a maximum of 300 on it. So we spend about $300 a month on those. But the idea is like, I'm already marketing to this area, a 5 mile radius from our gym. And now we just pick a current client of ours, we put their address and do a 1 mile radius of them for the direct mailers. So it's going to their neighborhood, which we know is usually a neighborhood that fits our demographics. And then we're able to, and then we also pick you can pick demographics as well on the direct mailer. And so we have brand awareness that's going to them. And then hopefully that Facebook ads hitting them sometime in that same period. So just seeing GCP multiple times in a row.
Yeah, dude. And hopefully it gets you set up for a good January.
Yeah, that's what hopeful too. We're not running a transformation challenge this year, so we're going to push that back into February. So we're hoping for January because we're really focused on $28, 28 days. And because of that, we feel like that can combat the gyms are doing 7 days for free or $1 for this many days. $20, 28 days is more in line with those offers. So we can push that a little bit harder in January. And then in February, we can come off with a higher end offer like a transformation challenge and hit those people that we got leads in over the last quarter, really hit them hard for a transformation challenge.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
So what do I need? What are you going to focus on this week, Joe?
Let's see. I was writing it down on this side of the paper here. My social media stuff will be done by Friday. Coach Ascension entered into Level Up will be done, at least the text, right? Not the videos. That will be done by tomorrow. So that'll get worked on this afternoon. What's today? Today is Tuesday. Yeah, that'll get worked on. I don't have any appointments this afternoon. And then I noticed that with texts nowadays, like I get a lot of if I'm sending out a text to former leads, like we get tons of stops. I think just partially because of this season, everybody's probably getting hit up with text, but we get really quick D&Ds on our new leads from ads too. Like really, really quick. So I'm going to review by next week, I'm going to audit our follow-up process, which has got to include more consistency in calling leads. And I need to make a decision by our call next week to either hire somebody to do it, or I've got to man up and do it and stop procrastinating on it as far as calling leads goes. It's not like I've got a ton of leads coming in right now, but we've got plenty of former leads and about a 5,000 to 6,000 person list. So there's people we could be reaching out to.
So I'll give you a tactic after this call about the D&Ds, actually how to physically fix that. Strategy wise, just for anybody that does texting. And so when Facebook lead hits, right, they get a text that's your first text to them. At the bottom of that thing, it'll say stop. You have to say that. It's required by technical law now. But if it happens instantly, it was not the human doing it. If it happens instantly, it was the carrier doing it, which means that the carrier's rejecting it. And so you can actually turn that D&D back on.
Oh, is that when it allows you to turn it back
Yeah,
on?
you can actually turn that back on. I can show you in Level Up how to do that. So that's not something fishy or anything, because the person actually didn't do it. And so it's a carrier issue. The carrier's turning on a D&D. And so in terms of that, just like the market's changed over the last 3 years since like the new rules have been put in for A2P. Carriers are getting like more and more extreme about this, because like there's a lot of texting going on, and so there's different ways around it. And usually when you send off certain things, that certain carriers trigger it quicker than other ones. And so we'll talk about how to actually fix that and Level Up. But just for all you guys out there, if it's happening to you often, it's actually not your text that you're sending out to the obstacle. It's actually the carrier itself. That's the obstacle. So don't think your maybe your first text is wrong. It's usually actually the carrier's issue, not yours. The same thing happens in emails in certain ways. There's ways around email D&Ds too. And I'll explain that again on it after this call to you, Joe. So,
well, that makes sense. I mean, think about how every day you get calls and it says potential spam risk, like right across the top of your phone. I'm sure it's a very similar filter, or however they do it for text messages with that automatic. I noticed how much quicker those were coming in on text. Like, it's like, man, they just showed interest. They reached out, and now they've D&D'd our text messages, like without even having a conversation.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast for the day. We appreciate you guys joining us. Well, a little bit longer. I didn't expect we'd go almost 50 minutes in this. We didn't really have anything to specifically talk about. But the accountability call is a good way to kind of go through and see the things that are going on in each other. Like me and Joe might do a couple different episodes like this over time of just us going through what we're working on accountability wise, because I think it allows you to see in real time how we're doing things, and like as business owners, what we're actually going through on a week-to-week basis. We're going to get back into consistent podcasting again, trying to figure out the right themes and stuff to go along. But we're excited to talk to you guys again. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Brotherhood is more than business. It's about leading from the front, leveling up in every domain, and becoming the CEO of your own life. Step up, execute, and we'll see you in the next one.